Alright, let's go ahead and begin writing the code for the tap counter. I'm going to open up the sidebar here. And, well actually, let me just go ahead and close the sidebar. I'm going to click on this view controller here, this yellow icon, and click on this circular icon here to open up a split view. It's called the assistant editor. Then I'm going to close that out. Okay, so now we have our code side by side with our user interface. Let's begin by cleaning up some of this code. We don't need a memory warning, so we can delete that. We can delete this comment here. And I'm just going to give this section name a name of view did load. And you'll see me do this a lot. And the reason why is because it's good practice to go ahead and name your code in sections, because when you have a lot of code, giving it a section name allows you to use this jump bar up here to quickly see your code and jump to it. So if I make another section down here, called new section, you'll see that it will appear up here as a new section here. So this is pretty helpful if you have a lot of code. So this is called a pragma mark here. And if you have the custom snippets I showed you earlier how to set up, you just type in mark and you'll see it pop up. Okay, so we have a view to load, and the first thing we're going to do is make another section called interactions. And one interaction is this tap button here. Let's go ahead and connect this button to the code. Right click and drag it over here and change the connection type to an action and the type here to a UI button. And we're going to give this a name of tap counter, and make sure it's camel case with the first letter lowercase t and capital C. Click connect. So that's our tap counter. And another interaction we have is this reset button. So go ahead and click on that, right click and drag over here. Change the connection type to an action and the type to UI bar button item. And we're going to call this tap reset button. Again, using camel case, make sure the T is lowercase. Click connect. Okay, so now we have two interactions here. And let's go ahead and test it out to make sure it works. And to do so, we're going to add a function in there called a print function. Just type in print, and we're going to print out button tapped. So if you tap the tap counter, it's going to print that out to the console. And if you tap the reset button, we're going to print out reset button tapped. Let's save it. And before we run it, notice the little circles that appear over here. If you hover over it, you'll see that this code here is connected to that tap button, and this code here is connected to that reset button there. So let me save it and hit Command R to run. Okay, so here's our tap counter. We also have a bunch of other content here in the console, and this we don't have to worry about for now. I've already submitted a bug report here to Apple, and they've confirmed that this is an error they corrected in a future update. So we can ignore this for now. If you're not getting this, then that's fine. You have an updated version. But okay. So if we tap on tap button here, we'll see that it prints out button tapped in the console there. If we tap reset button, you'll see that it prints out reset button. So we know that these buttons are correctly connected to the code and it works. Okay, let me hit the stop button on the simulator. Okay, so now that we know that these interactions work, let's go ahead and get the counter working. So for the tap counter to work, we need something to keep track of the count. And we're going to give this section a name of properties. Properties like that. And we're going to create a variable called count. We're going to set it equal to 0. And when we tap on, let me just delete this print command. Well, I guess we can leave that for now. When we tap on the tap counter, we'll want to increase the count. So to do that, we're going to say count. We're going to set the count equal to itself plus 1. Meaning if it's at 0, it's going to increase by 1 and become the number 1. If it's at 1, it'll become 2. So that's what that line of code does. And we're going to modify this print function here instead of printing out button tap, we want to print out this count. If we just type count in here, it's going to print out the word count. What we want to do is we want to embed this variable into our print command. Now, if you have my snippets installed, just type EMB for embed. And when you hit enter, it'll have the syntax ready for you. If you don't have the snippets, just type backslash and parentheses like that, and then type the name of the variable like that. That's going to embed the variable inside the print function here for you. So let's save it and hit Command R to run. Alright, so let's go ahead and test it out. Let me tap here. So you notice here it's printing the numbers here for us in the console. It's counting up to 12 there. And you'll see that the number counts up here, but it doesn't change right here. And the reason why is because this is the count in memory. This is the count as a label. So let's go ahead and do that for now. Let's go ahead and do that next. So let me stop the simulator and hide the console. So in order to change the count here in the label, we need to connect this label to the code. And I'm going to give that section a name of outlets. So click here, right click and drag over here. And we're going to call this count label. Lowercase c, capital L, click connect. Okay, so now that we have that object connected to the code, we can hover over it to see it highlight. We know that the code can communicate now with that object. So in our tap counter code, let me delete this print function. We want to change this number as well. So we can access that object by typing its name, count label, which is this variable here, count label. And we can access its properties by typing dot. And here are all its properties here. There's a lot of properties. But I'll go ahead and show you how you can figure out what it is really quickly. If I open up the utilities pane here, and I click on this label, you'll see its properties. Let me change this size there. Okay, you'll see that these are the properties it has here. So if I want to change this number here, we know that in the interface we can type a number here and it'll change. And that's the exact property we want to access. We want to access the label's text property. So we already typed the name, the count label name here. And if we want to access the properties, type dot and type the property name, which is text. And you'll see it suggests right here, text. So then we want to set it equal to the count. Now if we type count, you'll see an error message appear here. See, and the reason why is because this is an integer, and this text property only accepts text. In other words, a string. So we need to convert this integer to a string. Let me make some lines here to move the code up a little bit. Okay, so to convert this integer to a string, Apple has a function already built for us that can easily do that. We type the word string and just wrap it around parentheses like that. That's going to convert this integer to a string, and then we're going to pass it on to our count label's text property. I'm going to save it and hide that, and let's go ahead and run it. Okay, alright, so let me go ahead and tap here. And you'll notice the number change here. If we continue tapping, the number continues to count up. Alright, awesome. Pretty cool. Next, let's go ahead and write the code for our reset button. I'm going to stop the simulator, hide the console. Okay, for this print function, I'm going to go ahead and delete that for the tap reset button. And I'm going to say, when we tap the reset button, we want to reset this label to 0. So again, we type the name of it, count label, that's the name of that object, dot text, and we're going to set its text equal to 0. And remember, the text property only accepts a string value, and we don't need to convert this because the number is always going to be 0. So we just set it equal to a string of 0 like that. And we also want to reset the count in memory back to 0, and we can do so by saying count equal to 0. Oops, hit the wrong button there. Okay, so we had set the count in memory to 0, and the label, we set it to 0 as well. Let's go ahead and save it and hit Command R to run. Alright, so I can tap the tap counter here, click the reset button to reset it back to 0. Awesome. In the next video, we're going to learn how to add the hold function with the long press gesture.